path of the warrior winds down many roads. Some use their fists, and others their wits. However, Mike the Birdman and the rest of TWIG use a power unlike any other I've encountered. I want them to teach me this new power in my quest at thisweekingeek.net.
Hadouken!
And now it's time for another special feature.
Tickle.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to thisweekingeek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, and well, the year is starting to wrap up here at TWIG. We've had some really fun interviews over this last year. We've talked with people from the TTRPG industry. We've talked with people from the video game industry. And well, I want to end the year off, I probably got one more of these left in me to talk about a different TTRPG, but this one kind of landed at my doorstep at a funny time. So as you guys know, I occasionally chat with people over at Free League. We actually talked with one of those guys earlier this year, Tomas, and we talked about the Alien Evolved RPG, which is now currently shipping and is pretty awesome. You can look forward to seeing more about that in our holiday gift guides, which you'll hear probably next Friday and the following Friday on the 5th and on the 12th. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm finally not talking about xenomorphs. I'm actually talking about a new IP to me and a new TTRPG, which is currently, it just ended its Kickstarter, and it's going to be coming out next July or so. And that's the Invincible RPG. That's the comic book series by Robert Kirkman. The Amazon series is currently available with a new season coming out in March. The stories of Mark Grayson and his father Nolan. And, well, if you've seen the memes of think, Mark, think, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a ridiculously cool superhero universe, and to me it's very, very new. And preparation for this interview, I've marathoned the first 2 seasons of the show. Let's just say I didn't expect to be as hooked as I am. I'm literally going to my local bookstore after this interview to see if I can find the compendiums. I'm excited. So without any further ado, I want to welcome 2 people who are developing this for Free League. One is the co-founder of Free League, and we've had him on the show before, but a new guy, a new challenger, if you will, is going to be approaching. So I'm going to be talking with Adam Bradford. He is one of the people who worked on D&D Beyond. He's done stuff for Cortex Prime and Marvel. Tomas, the guy needs no introduction. Alien, Blade Runner, Mutant Year Zero, and Dragonbane. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, guys, this is really exciting for me. Like, just the fact that you had a really successful Kickstarter, and again, off air, I was chatting with Adam. I never would have expected the Invincible IP to work with the Year Zero system, but the more I look at it, I'm like, this actually kind of works. So so whoever wants to pick up the ball and kind of run with it here, why the Invincible IP, why Free League, and why the Year Zero system? Why does this synergize so well?
You want to pick that up, Adam, and I can talk to the system. And you,
absolutely.
You're the one who started the whole thing, so
yeah. Thomas and I were actually having lunch at Gen Con. These legendary lunches that people have at these big conventions, and so I think it would have been 4 years ago, maybe 5. Time flies, but we were just talking in general about games. I was effusively talking about how much I love Free League, games and all of the products and how great the company does. And I just said, hey, I love superheroes. Have you ever thought about doing a superhero game? And Tomas was basically saying that, definitely would love to do one. And he said, but we haven't found the right IP yet. And I said, oh, I've got, just the right IP that I think would work so well for it. And basically asked if he had heard of Invincible. And at the time, he had not. And, but it was my favorite comic series from the time it came out 20 years ago at this point. Followed it all along its original run and just really love it. Thought it would be a great fit. And so, a few years later, we were, talking about something else again. And then Tomas said, hey, I watched this Invincible show. And then pretty much after that, he went and I think did what you're about to do. and grabbed all the compendiums and read the comic, really quickly. But he was pretty hooked on it too. So so then approached Skybound after that.
Yeah, I had sort of the same reaction that you did, Mike. Just sort of not expecting to be as hooked as I was. So I saw everything that was then available on the animated series, and then I got a hold of all of 3 of these huge compendiums and just went through them all, and then we started talking to Skybound, who is the publisher of the comic book, and we had worked with them a little bit before on some Simon Stålenhag projects, the Electric State RPG. They are the publisher of some of his art books, so we sort of knew them a little bit. And that made things easy, and we approached them and talked to them about this and managed to agree on this. And for me, it was such a great fit. I mean, like Adam mentioned, I've been wanting to do a superhero RPG with the Year Zero engine for a very long time. I think one of my first RPGs was the original Marvel Superheroes by TSR back in the day. So that sort of always stuck with me as something that I'd like to do, something, a superhero game with the user engine. I had some ideas that had been sort of just bouncing around in my head for years. And this just turned out to be a great fit and a great opportunity to do that. And I think now it's not just any superhero game, it's the Invincible game, which has all of those superhero tropes and things that you love about superheroes, but it also has its own special vibe and sort of turns things a little bit in a different direction, which I think makes the game unique. So yeah, it's a really cool project.
So what does the collaboration look like for something like this? Because like Adam, you obviously have a huge kind of background. Thomas, you do too. So when you're adapting a world like like Invincible, because it has shades of Marvel, shades of DC, shades of Image, but like you were mentioning, it does have its own identity. I was actually saying this to Adam off air. Year Zero seems like a weirdly good fit because while a character like Invincible, Mark Grayson, could take an awful lot of damage and then somehow, oh look, he's broken, like he reaches those that D66 thing that you don't want to happen. And then other characters like say War Woman or Darkwing, they get hit the wrong way, it's not going to go so well for them. Yeah. So what did the collaboration look like just to adapt this very unique comic universe to Year Zero?
I mean, we worked a lot. We bounced things back and forth. I mean, there was a lot to do, not only just adapting the rules as such, but also just, there's so much to describe and develop in terms of characters, powers, the world. And I think Adam did, most of, if not all of the, heavy lifting on that end. And then where it came to mechanics, that's sort of what I love to do. There was a lot of back and forth on that front. And there, I just felt that, I mean, since the user engine tends to work well with sort of harsher environments and a bit of a survival type gaming style, I think for the Invincible superhero franchise that works pretty well since it can get pretty bloody and it's so I think that was actually a good match. But even so, the main challenge was to adapt the power levels. I mean, normally you have an attribute scale of like 1 to 5 in Year Zero for like normal people, and here you have to have superheroes with incredible powers. And how do you sort of balance that? And that is a challenge for, I think, every superhero game RPG ever made. And that's something we really worked a lot with, and it's still working with. And I think we're landing now in a really good place. I mean, there was a free quick start available that was, I think, worked pretty well, but we also learned quite a bit since then. So we're developing it further. So now I think we're close to a place where I think it really, really works. We're excited to share the whole beta PDF of the rule book pretty soon, probably before the holidays, before the end of the year, with backers so that's going to be great to see what they think.
So yeah, and I'll add to that, just really quickly, I think one of the things, because being such a huge superhero fan and playing games like this for approaching 40 years or however long it's been, I've played all of them that I'm aware of anyway. I've played every superhero game out there, And I think one of the most challenging things for a superhero game to really nail is what I'll just say scope
Mhm.
of figuring out how much detail you want to go into, how much you want to hand wave, and where's that sweet spot in between. And I think for both Thomas and I think that uh, you know, uh, my favorite superhero game, until this one that we're trying to make now, has been, that Marvel superheroes game, because, and I think to a large degree, it really got scope right. That
Mhm.
probably was the thing that it had, going the best for it. And so I think that, there's definitely some heavy inspiration there, and people that are familiar with that game can kind of see that. We're wearing it on the sleeve there, but I do think that trying to get that scope was really important for Invincible. In order for that to be able to work for Darkwing getting completely clobbered, and Invincible taking that clobbering, but keeping coming back there. And so I'm as Thomas said, we've gone through so many iterations. We started this project quite a while back, and so we've been working on it for some time, and I really do think that we're getting into a really good place, and towards that sweet spot now, and that's really exciting to see.
So now that you've got this book coming out, like I said, you've got your beta rules coming out in hopefully just a couple of weeks, with everything coming out next year. You guys had a very successful Kickstarter. When the Kickstarter, like you started getting more stuff unlocked, like a bigger rogues gallery, more guest characters kind of showing up. What are some of the things we can expect? Like, who are some of the characters that are going to be showing up? Like I said, I'm only in season 2, so be careful of spoilers here. For me, be gentle. But get me excited too. I'd love to hear what is coming for this, because this is a universe that seems like it would lend itself well to additional splat books, but also having the Guardians of the Globe already set out and statted, but also knowing it's more than just Doc, Seismic, the Mauler twins, and Angstrom, stuff like that. What are some of the cool things we can expect to see in the book itself?
I don't think you're best to.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to be really careful because of the spoiler warning there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because I've lived and breathed this stuff for so long now that it's kind of like time is a construct, and I don't know which character came in which place, but what I will say is we're really excited. One of the things that initially we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to do it or not, but we've been able to, is to include what is called Invincible universe characters. And so if you're in the second season of the show, several of those characters probably haven't quite made their appearance yet, but ultimately, the universe of Invincible has been expanded outside of the core comic series, which ran for 144 issues. It tells a single, comprehensive story. But then, as you're referencing the Guardians of the Globe, they kind of end up doing an expansion similar to Justice League Unlimited, where it's like, it goes. So the Guardians get a little bit bigger, and they introduce some new characters that we have been able to integrate into the game. There were some separate comic series. Even, one of them was called Tech Jacket, and he became a really popular character in the fan base. And so, because of unlocking that stretch goal in the Kickstarter, we've been able to integrate those characters into the game. And so I, worked on statting out the profiles for that. And, it's just a complete geeking out moment there of being able to think about those things, because it reminded me of creating characters in the old Marvel superheroes game that you would just dream like, okay, how would you make this Image character, because there wasn't an Image game back then, and so this was like kind of treading that new ground of being able to capture some of those great characters. But yeah, we're really excited to be able to integrate those kind of things. And I do think we've got so many plans for things that we would like to do for future
Ooh.
supplements. So nothing we can talk about yet, but we're really excited about everything that we could potentially explore with that.
Yeah, like when I was like again, as I'm starting to read and as I'm starting to look at the expanded universe of Invincible, one of the characters that really caught my attention was Battle Beast. Like I'm a freelancer on Star Trek, and I know Battle Beast is voiced by Michael Dorn, and I was like,
Yes.
"Yo, that is so awesome!" And then in the episode where Battle Beast shows up and he mops the floor with those guys, I'm like, when I started prepping for the interview for this, like I could base an entire campaign around this. Like, I want to know
Well,
more about his
and
people.
Skybound kind of has started to do that, which is really fascinating. So there is a Battle Beast series that just debuted, probably 6 months ago or something, because we're in issue 6 of it right now. And ultimately with that moment in the show that you're referencing where he mops the floor and then he literally teleports away and just says like, yeah, I was not impressed with this, I'm out of here, once he leaves, there's literally like this, in the comic series, don't see Battle Beast for a very long time. Well, now they're going back and exploring, okay, once he teleported away there, what happened with Battle Beast. And so that's been a really cool process to see new Invincible content coming out for the first time in several years. And I've absolutely loved, what I've seen in these first 6 issues. And we've already incorporated, they've expanded some of the Battle Beast lore in these 6 issues already. And we've already incorporated that into the game. So that process is really, fascinating to see that unfold like that too.
So one of the questions I'd love to ask you both, like, because obviously this would have to be a collaboration. You've referenced the Marvel heroic role play or what the game by phase rip. Either
Yes.
way, how did you guys get the scale right for? Because like obviously when you're back in the day, you'd have that sliding scale of trying to like who has like a green power, yellow power, etc. And
Yeah.
here, obviously, Monster Girl is quite different from Rexplode or or Adam Eve versus like kind of robot. Like, how is developing the stats for these guys? Like, how did you guys manage to find the right balance with that? And who is the hardest character to get mechanically right without being either OP or like they're gonna walk into a fight and get friggin' pasted?
Yeah, no, that is a big challenge, and I think that's something we discovered pretty early on, that is definitely a big challenge, and but a fun one. And I think what we've been doing is that I think we had the idea from early on to expand the scale. I mean, like I mentioned, your zero typically has like a 1 to 5 attribute scale, so we wanted to increase that just to signal that in this game you go way beyond your normal. So the scale is different. But then also you sort of introduced a logarithmic aspect to this, that some when you go up from like a 6 to a 7 to an 8, it's not just you're one pretty major level stronger than on the step below. So one reference that I had when I started working with this was actually a very different game, Twilight 2000, that we do, which is a fairly semi-realistic military type RPG. But I wanted to feel like when you face like someone fairly normal faces like Omni-Man, it should be like facing a tank in Twilight 2000. It should feel like that. That sort of going into this is what we tried to do. But then, yeah, of course, balancing it a little bit so that even if you're Rexplode or someone perhaps a little bit less powerful, you still have to be able to play a meaningful part in the game. So that's just balancing all of that, right? I think is what we've been working on, and right now I think it's coming together. I think for the most difficult character to adapt, I think one that we struggle with quite a bit is Adam Eve, right, Adam?
Yeah, so Adam Eve is, and that is among the fan base. That is a big topic that constantly comes up because, on paper her powers are, kind of ridiculous. She can do theoretically so many things, and I think that's the important part that we've kept in mind is just like Thomas is saying between Rexplode that might not again on paper feel as powerful. I think the important thing, and this happens in virtually every superhero universe, is Captain America on paper is nowhere near as powerful as the Hulk, but the number of times that he has defeated the Hulk in actual direct combat is pretty staggering when you go back through and look at this, And so it's like, how does that happen? And, I love it in, some of the older Marvel games, they had something called Edge that they used, and basically Captain America had this huge edge score, and so that was the equalizer. And I think that, for us, at the end of the day, it comes down to their role in the plot and how the story is told is similar. That even though Rex on paper has a less impressive power maybe than Adam Eve in this case, they ultimately kind of they are teammates. They are colleagues, on team starting out and everything. And so I think that that's the thing, is that they can both hold their own in the stories that are being told. And really that's what we wanted to make sure of, was that, yes, if you have Darkwing, who, at least the original Darkwing had no, supernatural abilities, superpowers. He could still hold his own against some of these other characters, and he had his role to play in those fights. And so balancing between is always a challenge, but I think at the end of the day, you want the players that are playing these heroes to feel like they are impacting the story in the same way that those characters do in the comics.
So, with all that in mind, like, we've talked about all the major established characters, but what does character creation look like for something like this? Because obviously, the Invincible universe has a wide scope of abilities, from, like I said, Autumn with like Adam Eve's like energy and matter manipulation, Rexplode kind of being like Gambit by way of Timu, stuff like that. Like, I'm like, literally, as you two were talking, I'm thinking, what is my character going to look like here? And I already have kind of a idea for an indigenous themed spiritual character with like ghost powers. So what does character creation and generating your powers look like for something like this to scale with everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think one concept that Adam introduced early on was we have like hero ranks, so you can sort of choose what level you want to have your group on, going from teen upstarts at the lowest level to street defenders, to global guardians, which is sort of the default level, and then cosmic champions, which is basically those super powered mega heroes that go across space and fight like galactic threats and things. So that was a great starting point to have, so you can sort of where you want to place your campaign or your game, on what sort of general power level do you want to be at. So that's the starting point. But then we also wanted to, of course, yeah, this game, I think, even though it's the Invincible RPG and we want to explore that universe, we also want it to be a vehicle and a tool set for creating your own superhero stories, in the Invincible universe or in any universe, if you like. So it's a very comprehensive, I think, character creation system, where you create your civilian side of your character, of course, the superhero side, and there's like, I think at this point, 69 different powers, and then many of those come in different levels and with different like boosts and limits that modify them. So there's a wide range of powers to choose from, and then add to that there are talents, which are a bit less powerful, but that give you like a small edge. Drawbacks, there is that, and then there are ways to develop your character's personality in different way, what drives them. Of course, they have key relationships, both to other heroes in the team, but also to civilians, like NPCs, that you have to manage your sort of civilian life. So there's, I think, a pretty wide range of tools, a pretty wide scope for character creation. Even things like developing your team base, getting like a team vehicle, things like that. So there's, I think you really can go to town with creating your character and also your hero team. So I think there's a lot there. Do you want to add anything to that, Adam?
Yeah, I think that the other part there that we thought early on was going to be really important is that there are a whole lot of options that players can pick up here, and sometimes inspiration in the first place is one of the toughest challenges for a player to come up with, especially if they've, just come in from work, they're sitting down at the gaming table and they didn't have time to give it thought, beforehand. And so we also have archetypes, and that's a really important part here. And we almost thought about those in video game terms as loadouts, essentially, that, hey, you can have, one of the archetypes is called the metamorph. And so, if you play a metamorph, if you're wanting to play a shapeshifter like Mystique, or, possibly, Martian Man from Invincible, that kind of thing, then you can essentially just go to this archetype, making that character creation a whole lot easier, because it's going to suggest powers. It's going to, suggest, allow you to roll talents that would be appropriate and applicable to that kind of, kind of iconic archetype in the comic space. And so, I think that archetypes are a great way, and, you can always customize. So if you don't quite like what you see there with the archetype, so even for the character concept that you brought up, it could potentially be going to an archetype like the Shaper and making a few tweaks to really make it fit that concept best.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, the archetypes there, because there's like 16 of them, which is quite a lot, but because there are so many options in character creation, it can really help when you want to have, get to the table quickly and just have something a starting point. So that's a good point.
Yeah, like the more I hear about this, the more excited I'm getting, because like I've played a couple of superhero games. Like I've played the TSR one, I played one game of the Cortex one, which by the way doesn't get nearly enough love. I've played the new Marvel 616 game by Matt Forbeck, and I really enjoy that one. But this one, like I said, I like the idea. Like, here's a bunch of archetypes, but if you don't, here's like 60 something powers, figure it out. And not gonna lie, while you guys are chatting, like, all right, cool, I've got this idea worked out. Awesome, I can make my character, and I just have to find an artist to draw this. This is it's rare to get this excited for an IP that I'm so new to, but then again, you guys have really picked like the perfect time. We've got the Invincible versus fighting game coming out next year, and I didn't get into the beta, and damn it, but the new season of the show is coming out in March. There's new comics coming out, like literally, like I said, I'm gonna go get the compendiums, but now that Adam mentioned Battle Beast, well, I guess I got 6 issues of comics to go find later on today. So this is exciting, guys. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing this. And you guys said there might be more cool stuff in the pipeline you can't talk about yet, but I will be back. I'm going to get my own version of Cecil and Donald, and we are going to talk. But regardless, I'm excited for this, guys. So thank you for taking time out of your days. I know for Adam, it's probably Turkey Day today. So thank you again. And
not quite, but all the preparations go on for like a week around here. So
yeah. You guys take that holiday ridiculously seriously. And then Thomas, it is Thursday. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much. We are going to be talking again. Like once I get my hands on the rules for this, and I can start creating stuff, I think we're going to have another conversation. Looking forward to seeing this come out next year. When are pre-orders expected to open next year? Because now that the Kickstarter's over, I presume late pledges are probably done too. Right?
Late pledges are actually still available, so that's there. Yeah, you can actually make a late pledge right now, and then there's going to be more of a regular pre-order closer to the release, which is going to be sometime late summer, most likely.
Fantastic, guys. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us here on This Week in Geek. I wish you guys all the success in the world, and I too cannot wait to be. Well, see, if I had a title card, it would pop up here, but I don't. But you know what I'm going for. So, guys, that was my interview with Adam and Thomas. This game sounds awesome. Like, seriously, the Invincible universe is not something I expected to like this much. But you guys know how I really don't sleep. And the fact that I'm able to stay up all night and marathon Invincible, I'm going to be getting the fighting game. I'm going to my local comic book store to pick this up today. This is exciting. I haven't been hyped about a game like this in years, and it's kind of refreshing. Not since I guess the Aliens Evolved really had me excited. But this is cool. Like, honestly, I'm looking forward to it. Free League's been really good to us, so we'll be talking about this for sure next year. And this is something I've added into my holiday gift guide as new and upcoming. So when that comes out, hopefully things are still available. Please check this out. There's going to be lots of information. There's lots of people on YouTube talking about this right now. So go give this a check out. Go to Free League's website. Just type in Invincible RPG. You'll find out more and just listen to people. Like I said, this is going to be awesome. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I have a lot of books to read between now and holiday gift guide. So I will be back with Alex doing the final live show of the year, which will be taking place probably on Monday, if not Sunday of this week. And then we are in holiday gift guide prep. And we also have the Game Awards from Los Angeles coming up the week of the 10th. So we'll be talking about that. And then our last big holiday gift guide you can look for on December 12th for your last minute holiday needs, be they video games, movies, television, or something weird for the cat. That's what we're going to be talking about. So anyway, guys, I am going to get out of here. I've been Mike the Birdman saying be excellent to each other, and we will be back right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.